Okay. Okay, we will start with the keyword, final keyword. Okay, in Java programming language or object-oriented language, the final keyword or static keyword, these are the special features of the Java programming language. So, why the final keyword is used in Java? Final keyword, it will be used to restrict the modification. That is the meaning of final keyword. Final means it does not modify further. That is the keyword or the meaning of the keyword final. So the final keyword, it used to restrict the modification or further modification of the user. It can be used to variable, method, class. For a constant declaration, for one variable that is declared inside a class, it can be declared by using the final keyword, which means that that variable or that method, that class, that could not be modified further. That is the indication of final keyword. So final keyword, it means to stop value change, it stop to method overriding, stop inheritance. That is the so when we are using the final keyword with the variable, that means that the variable could not be changed further. Then when the final keyword that could be used in the method or Java method or a function, that means that that method cannot be overridden. Okay, so overriding means the same method that are declared or defined inside the parent class as well as in the child class. Is it? So this type of overriding that should be prohibited when a method that should be declared as a final keyword or final method. When a class that should be declared as a class final, that means that it cannot be inherited. That is the concept of final keyword. So if a final variable that we are already uninitialized. Uninitialized means with a variable which will not be given the initial value into it. So for initializing the final keyword or final variable, that should be done by using constructor only. Is it? So these are the basic concept of final keyword. Final keyword we can use with the keyword final, final, then it can be used to variable and method or class. It means that when a final variable, it means that it restricts the modification of the variable or a class or a method. That is the meaning of final keyword. It restrict the modification means the value cannot be changed. That is the concept of final keyword. So final variable, a variable that is declared as a final, so it cannot be changed. That it value must be constant. That is the indication of final variable. Here this program inside the byte, that is the class name, one class, it included one variable, integer variable, that is the variable name speed limit, that equal to 90 we already given. But that variable, before that variable, we used the keyword final. So that means that this variable speed limit cannot be changed further. But inside a run method or a method, we used again this speed limit equal to 400. Is it? So that means that initialize the final variable equal to 90. That is already final keyword. So that means that the variable could not be changed. But inside the main function, we declared one object for the class we already declared. The object dot run, that should be invoked, the member function that already declared inside the class. Is it? So obj dot run, that should be invoked. Inside that run method, one speed limit equal to 400 will be there. This program, after running this program, this should be make a error or compilation error, because inside that class we already declared speed limit equal to final. That's why the speed limit cannot be changed again. So that should be inside the run method, that should be an error occurred because the variable speed limit is already declared as the final. So this is the compilation error program, is it? So when we declared a method as final, that means that a method cannot be override. That is the indication of a method declared as a final. Is it? So one method, that is void run. Run is the method or member function which we declared inside the class bike, that should be declared final. So before that, before the function, we used the keyword final. Inside that run, we make a statement running. So that is the statement we printed, or output console, we got the statement running. Is it? So in inherited class, that is the Honda, that is extends from the class bike. Inside that, we again use the method run. That should be system.out.println running safely with 100 km per hour. So this means both the methods run we used in the parent class as well as in the child class. This is the concept of function overloading or overriding. That means method overriding. Is it? So we declared one object Honda, that is for the derived class. That is the concept of derivation or inheritance. Is it? So derived class object, we declared one object. By using that object, we invoke the function run. Basically, the run function, it could be invoked which method, which member function. What is the function we already declared inside the child class, that should be invoked. That is the process of method overriding. But the function, before the function, we already declared final. That means that the name run, that is the function name that we already declared as final. It means that that run method, it cannot be override, or it could not be overwritten. So that's why it will make an error. Is it? So any of the method or which function, that should not be invoked, because the function run, that already we declared inside, declared as the final. So final method, it could not be override. Is it? Then the final class, it means that when a class that should be declared as the final, it cannot be extended. That means that it cannot be inherited. And extends keyword we are using for the inheritance. Is it? The child class indication, that should be mentioned by the keyword, or the word extend keyword. Is it? So if you make any class as final, we cannot extend it. That means class bike, we already declared as final. So from that bike class, there is no other class could be inherited. That is means that is a final class. So it means that that class cannot be extend or inherited. Class Honda 1 extends bike, void run is the another method that we already defined inside the bike, inside the Honda 1 child class. From the main function, we invoke the object Honda for the child class. Honda.run, that is indicated, we need to call the child class method or member function run. Is it? But in this case, the class bike is already declared as final. Because of that, the bike not extend Honda 1. The inherited class or child class Honda 1, that could not be generated from the bike class, because bike is already declared as the final keyword, or by using final keyword. So the method can be inherited, or otherwise it could be cannot be override. Actually, here the class bike is not a final class. That means that the bike class can be inherited. That means the class bike, that is the parent class, that is declared without using final keyword. That is, class bike is not a final class. Inside that class, we declared a function with using a final keyword. That is the final method. So this class bike could be inherited, or another child class that can be generated from the bike class. So that's why class Honda 2 extends bike. It's not wrong. That means it's correct sentence. Bike or Honda 2, that should be inherited from the bike class. But by using Honda 2, we cannot override, or we cannot invoke the function final. That means that here we cannot use the overriding function, is it? New Honda 2, that is the object we declared for the child class dot run. That means that it could be invoked the method from the child class only, is it? But here Honda 2 with the child class object, we can invoke the function inside the child class as well as the base class without the keyword final. In normal inheritance, we can access or invoke the function in the base class by using the child class object. So final method can be inherited. Final method can be inherited, but final class could not be inherited. Final method, it could not be override. Is it? So same method we can use in the parent class as well as in the child class. We could not invoke this class by using when that method that should be declared in before our final keyword, that could not be overriding. So a final variable, if it is not initialized, that it is initialized by using constructor only. So one if the chance why the or how we can use this final variable, we can use some particular unique identity number. So at the time of creating the object only, the variable it is initialized by using the constructor. So the memory management, and also one particular variable, it contained only one value. It cannot be a variable, it cannot be a constant. That time of declaration we can use final variable. When it cannot be, or it is not previously initialized, it is done by when the time of creating the object only, the final variable should be initialized by using constructor only. Then the same concept or the final keyword, other than the final keyword, Java is used another purpose that is called a static keyword. Static keyword in Java, we already heard that static as the member function. You see, before the member function, we declared inside the Java program, we have the static keyword. The speciality is that the static method is not an instantiated, because not using the object we can invoke the static method, is it? That is, other than the static method, other methods, it is not using the static keyword. That method should be invoked by using object variable only, is it? Obj dot run or ob dot run, d dot eat, d dot walk. This type of member function invoking that is available in Java programming. But instead of that, we use the static keyword before any member function. That's we can invoke without using object. That's why the static method, it is called and not instantiated, is it? So we can use the static method or a static keyword before the variables, before the method, before the block, or a block should be declared, or a block can be declared as the static, or a variable can be declared as a static, or method or member function that can be declared as a static keyword. So if you declare a variable as static, it's known as static variable. Or if a method that is declared by using the static keyword, the method, it is called a static method. Okay. So static variable, it contain if integer variables. So a variable can be used to the common property or a common behavior. We can use the keyword static. That is a unique for which item is unique for a particular object, that should be declared as the static variable. So here, college name of employees, that is a unique keyword, or college name of students, that is a unique keyword. This type of information that could be declared in the real-time situation or real scenario, we can declare as the keyword static. So when we declare a variable as a static, the memory allocation at the time of class loading only, the variable should be initialized, or the memory could be initialized, or memory could be loaded, is it? So the memory efficiency is the advantages of the static variable. It saves memory. So in this scenario, or a class is student is there, it contains three variables: roll number, that is integer; name, that is string; then again string college equal to its. This is the one initialized variable, one common unique keyword we are using in the class. Okay, so so the class is student we declared. Int class student, in roll number, string name, college equal to its. This means that there are 500 students in the college. Now, all the instance or all the variables that we declared inside the class, that will be allocated memory. So each time that or that object that is invoked to the variables, at that time the memory location or memory that could be arranged or initialized. So here one property, that is string college, that is a common name that will be referred for each student. Is okay, so each student have separate roll number and separate name. So when 500 students in there in college, it contains 500 roll numbers and 500 name. But the college name, it is a unique or common name for all these 500 students. So it is refers the common property of the all object. So such object that could be made as the static or declared as the static variable, because that for common object only one memory allocation that should be needed. So that's why that variable, before that variable we can use the static keyword. So here class student, roll number is there, then the example that the implementation of the previous example. So student class is the roll number, string name, then string college is there. So this is the common property or common variable. So here that variable declared using the static keyword. So here one constructor we declared student int r string n, that is for to initialize the roll number and name variable we are already declared inside the class student. Is it? One member function is the display is the, it is used to print the roll number, name and college. Okay, so inside the main function, we invoked two objects. We declared two objects, S1 and S2, for initializing roll number and name. Is it? So, for when we declared these two objects, we created an object, created a memory location. For because automatically it will invoke the constructor. Inside that constructor, we assigned roll number and name. It is the initialization procedure of that particular variable. So at that time only the memory of the corresponding object that should be created. Okay, then we invoked s1 dot display, s2 dot display. That is here when we declared some object s1 and s2, it we allocated stack memory for the objects, and corresponding object each id or roll number and name for creating a separate memory location. Is it? So when S2 created, S2 contained one ID and one name. Then S1 created, one object is created, another object created, that should be contain ID and name. So these two are the memory location or heap memory location, that whatever the object we created, each contain this type of memory arrangements. Each memory it contain a roll number and name. But these roll number and name, all the objects variables in the heap memory, that should connected with the class. When a class is loading, only one memory that is allocated for the college. That is a string variable. It is initialized as its. At the time of class loading only, that variable college is declared or initialized or allocated memory for that particular variable. But inside other than college, that is the static variable, other than the static variable, each time the object created, the memory will be allocated. So this is the memory efficiency or the memory saving procedure of while a variable declared as a static variable. Okay, so as variable that could be declared as the static. Then Java static method, that means we can implement or we can write a method by using the keyword static method. So it means that static method belongs to a class. It is uh, the hope of the or scope of the static method inside the class, not the object. That's why we not invoked the static method by using the object. So static method can be invoked without using object, or that is the instance of the class. Then static method can access as the static data member and can change the value of it. That is the property of the static method or a static keyword before the static method. So here the one of the example of the static method, static into cube, it return value x into x into x, then result equal to calculate dot cube. That means inside that class we invoke the function static function cube. Only the class name we are using, because the class name we separately include the function cube. So that's why we invoke the class name dot cube. This means that static method, that is uh, that the scope of the static method, that is the inside the class, not the instance of the class. So other than the object we can invoke the static method. So when we declared, or the when a class, it contains so many functions, one of the function is static function. While using another class, we are declaring main function. Inside that main function we invoke the function without using object. Is it directly we can call cube? That is the functionality of the static method. Is it? This is the method of previously we declared method by using the static variable and also the static method. Is it? So static void change is the method, college equal to BBDIT. So this means that static members only can be changed inside the static method only. That is the speciality of the static. So static keyword, we can use the static method that scope is inside the class, or other than the object of the class. And static method can be invoked without using the object, and static method can access the static members and can be changed. That is the speciality of the static keyword. Then static means, the restriction of the static method is the static method cannot use non-static data members, or it can be or it can or cannot call non-static method directly. So that is the restriction of the static method. This and super keyword cannot be used in static context. When a method or a variable we declared as the static keyword, that should not be invoked by using super dot. Super keyword that could be used to invoke the member function or variable we are declared inside the immediate parent class. That is the concept of super keyword, is it? So then this is used to point or reference the current variable inside the class. So what is the current class variable or current class method? That is denoted or indicated by the keyword. This keyword super is to invoke the member function or variable we are declared inside the immediate parent class. That is the concept of super keyword. So these all, or these are invoked, or these are the restriction of the, these are the two restriction of the static method. So here the system in the program, system A is declared inside the class, that should be a non-static method or member or data field. So that cannot be invoked by using a static method or a static function. So this is one of the restrictions. So while executing this program, the output should be compile time error. Then stats Java can be used another concept, that is set block. Static can be a variable, static can be a class, can be a static, a method can be a static, then a block can be static. That means that It is used to initialize the static data member. We already declared one data variable or a variable as the static. To initialize the static variable, we used a static block. It is executed before the main method at the time of class loading. Only the class loading, the static method should be executed. Okay, static block can be executed. That means that static block means one curly brace, opening curly brace to closing curly brace. Inside that, any other statements we already defined. That block we declared by using keyword static. That entire block is known as static block. So that static block, it could be executed before the main method. Is it so? Here one example, a2 is there, that is the class. Then inside that we declared a static main function. Before that we included a static block. This block is called a static block. That block executed before the main function, or it can be used to assign or initialize the static data member. Okay, so inside the static block we already output or we have printed one statement. Static block is invoked, so before the main function that static block could be executed. So that's why we got the output static block is invoked. Then after that only the static main function that should be invoked or executed, then printed system.out.println hello main. Okay, so this is the concept of static block. Then, in the object oriented programming or Java programming, another concept or the important feature is that data abstraction. Abstraction is the another feature of the Java programming or object oriented. Object oriented programming, there are inheritance is another feature, polymorphism is one of the feature, then abstraction is the feature, encapsulation is the feature. So encapsulation, that's all indicated in the class and object concept. Then inheritance is another concept. Polymorphism means overriding and overloading. It is the concept of polymorphism. And again, the abstraction concept. Abstraction is the feature of object-oriented programming. Abstraction means it will be hide the important features of the program or the implementation detail of any other method from the user. That is the concept of data abstraction or abstraction concept. If we declared one method, only we indicated or we displayed the name only to the user. So what is the inside implementation of that particular method that should be hide from the user? That is the concept of abstraction. In the real-time example, we use the mobile phone, we send the messages, we receive some messages. This type of operations will be handled. But how this will be happened or how this internal processing of message delivery or message storing mechanism that could be hidden from the end user. So that is the concept of data abstraction. We already given the name, then but that implementation detail that should be hidden from the or that should be hide from the user end user. That is the procedure of data abstraction. So abstraction to enable or a feature of abstraction to enable the feature of abstraction in Java or object-oriented programming, we used two methods. We types or we features we are used or two ways to achieve the data abstraction. One is abstract class is the concept. The next one is interface. Okay, so abstract class or abstract, that means we used abstract keyword before the class or a method or a variable. That is the concept of abstract class. So 0 to 100 percentage in the or abstraction that could be achieved by the abstract class, the 100 percentage of abstraction that could be achieved by the feature interface. So abstract class means that a class which is declared abstract keyword. By using the abstract keyword, that is known as abstract class. It can have abstract or non-abstract methods. one class, it is declared with using abstract keyword that is known as abstract class. Inside that class, we already know that inside the class, there are a lot of member variables or functions should be there that can have abstract and non-abstract methods. So it needs to be extended or its method implemented. That is the feature of abstraction. It is extension keyword that could be used other than implementation keyword or implements keyword that could be used to achieve the abstraction by using abstract keyword. Okay, so the feature is that abstract class must be declared with an abstract keyword. It can have abstract or non-abstract methods. It cannot be instantiated. It can have constructors and static method also, and it can have final methods. It will force the subclass not to change the body of the method. So that is the features of abstract class. How it will be declared: abstract keyword, then class name. This is the syntax for creating abstract class. Then a method which is declared as abstract, that is called an abstract method. And it does not have any implementation, so it is an abstract method. That is abstraction, it is the feature we are using to, or which feature we are implemented by using the abstract keyword. So that means that one method we already declared as the as by using the keyword abstract, its definition or the implementation we can hide from the external or the end user. So how we declared the abstract method? We used abstract keyword before the function name, abstract void print status. So it contain no method body because the function, it is a abstract function or an abstract method. Okay, so example of an abstract class that contain an abstract method. Here, one class is there, that is an abstract class. It contain one method only, that is an abstract method. Its name is run. Okay, so inside the class, we declared the run is the abstract method we used, but it cannot implemented or it contain no execution step or implementation step. And we inherited another class Honda 4 from the bike class, that is the parent class. Inside that child class we declared void run again. Then it contained the system, it contained the statement running safely, that is system.out.println. We already given one statement like this. Then static main, inside the main we declared one object by obj, that is for the main class or the base class or the super class, equal to new Honda 4. That is means we can invoke the abstract method by using this type of object declaration. So here we used abstract method inside the parent class, and we hide the implementation detail, but inside the extended class only child class we here explain their implementation details. To run that or to implement it, to get the implementation detail, we initialize the memory location or the object for the Honda 4, but it will be access the abstract method we are already declared inside the parent class. That's why by obj we created the abstract class object here. For accessing the function or overriding function, we need to execute, is it? Abstract method we already implemented inside the Honda 4. So that's why we created or memory allocated for the Honda 4 object. By using that obj, we invoke the function run that should be invoked running safely. So the output, it could get running safely. This is the method we are implemented, the abstract method we implemented in the extended class. Okay. Abstract class that should be implemented only in the extended class or a inherited class. So this is again another type of example. One class is there, that is abstract class, shape is the name. Here inside the base class, we declared one method draw, that is an abstract method. Only the declaration that could be included in the base class. Okay, so the implementation that should be done inside the extended classes. So here we need to extend three shapes or two shapes. One is rectangle, then another one is circle one. So these two classes we extended from the base class shape. Inside that, we implemented the abstract function of the base class draw with the different meanings. Void draw is there in the rectangle, it will be printed drawing rectangle. Then another draw is there in circle one extended class, it contain another statement drawing circle. Is it? So here we want to create the object. We need to, which draw function we need to invoke, that particular object we need to create. Is it? So for the abstract class object declaration, we need to create the object for shape, that is the base class or the abstract class. That's shape S is there. Which draw function that could be, which abstract method we need to invoke, that object need to, or that memory need to be initialized. So shape S equal to new circle 1. That is, shape is the abstract class. Inside that abstract class, one draw method is there. That which abstract method we need to invoke inside the circle one draw method is there. So that should be invoked. So circle one draw method that should be invoked and that should be printed. Drawing circle, it should be printed. When we want to invoke the function or abstract method we defined inside the rectangle child class, we need to create an object like shape R equal to new rectangle. That means that we created one object for the derived class for the abstract class shape. Then R dot draw, that should be printed drawing rectangle. Is this? So this is the concept of abstract class. Then for to achieve the abstraction feature, one method is abstract keyword, another one is interface. Is it? For 100% of the abstraction that could be achieved in the Java program, that is the concept called a interface. Here, the interface in Java, that is like the blueprint of a class. So, what is the class declaration we already have? That should be there inside the interface also. It contains static constants or abstract methods. It to implement by use to achieve the abstraction and to achieve the multiple inheritance also, we can use the method interface. Multiple inheritance means it not be there in the Java programming language. Only single inheritance is there, multi-level inheritance is there, hierarchical inheritance is there. Is a two inheritance, multiple and hybrid is not there in the Java programming language. To implement that multiple inheritance, we use the property or we use the mechanism called the interface. Is it? So here, inheritance or interface, that means that it is used to implement the abstraction, how it will be invoked, how it will be declared. Is it? So here Java 8 version, we can have the default static method and default method inside the interface. But at the time of Java 9 series, we can have the private methods we can use in the interface. So interface is the blueprint of the class. That means that a class that could be replaced or replicated copy of the class, it is also called an interface. So to use the interface, we can achieve the abstraction, we can implement the multiple inheritance. Then, when an interface, how to declare an interface? We used interface as the keyword, then interface name we can give, or we can have the class declaration. That's why we already called an interface as the blueprint of the class. That means that how we declare a class, that manner we can we can use the interface, is it? So inside the interface we can declare constant field, we can declare methods, or that could be an abstract method or a default methods we can implement. Okay, so for Java 8, it will be available only the static methods or the default methods only. By the further features are implemented in the Java 9 series. So internal addition to the compiler means when a compiler see the interface, it converted the default members or a default member function that should be a static or a abstract methods. That is the internal part of the compiler while seeing an interface. So when a compiler, it will identify one method or one interface. That should be interface. It is apart from the, or it's same features like a class, is it? By using the interface keyword, one interface name should be the opening brace and closing brace. It contains so many variables, so many methods, but all the default members of the static method already in Java 8 version, it could be like this: interface printable, int min equal to 5, void print. We can access as the default members or the static method. Or but in the compiler, when the compiler detect the interface, it will automatically convert it to the interface like interface printable, public static final, int min equal to 5. That is the conversion that could be internally done by the compiler. Then void print, that should be converted like public abstract void print. So this is the concept of internal exchange or the internal mechanism that could be done by the compiler when while seeing the interface in a program. So the relationship between classes and interfaces is that a class will be extend another class, is it? So when an interface that could be implemented, a class implements interface. That is the keyword we are using. Extends is the keyword we are using for to inheritance property. That is one base class is the another class that could be generated from the previous class. That is the keyword we are using, extends, is it? But in the case of interface, one class is already there. That class uses or it use another interface from whatever the packages we are using another interface. The keyword called a class implements one interface, or one interface only extends interface. This is the difference between classes and interfaces. That means a class extends another class, an interface extends from an interface, and class that implements an interface. This is the keywords which we are used in the two classes, two interfaces, one class and one interface. Okay. So this is the example for the Java interface. That is Java interface example. One interface we are already declared interface keyword with using interface keyword. Then interface name should be there. Then inside that interface we declared a function. Then one class is declared that is used to implement that interface to establish the function before we are declared inside the interface. So class A6 implements printable. So class and interface, that is the relationship is one class implements interface. So class A6 implements printable. Inside that we implemented, or we write the code or define the code of the function print. We already declared inside the interface. Print, that means to print the hello statement. Then with using the function, we declared the object for the class. Then with using that object, we invoke the function print, that is already available in the interface. Here we combine the interface and class together to identify what is the interface name, how it will be implemented by using one class, how it will be declared an object, and by using that object how we invoke the function. But here inside the Java program, we can use separately one Java 4 or one tab 4 to implement the class, and also one tab is for only implement the code for interface, and other class we can implement, other class we can write or create that. From that class we can implement all the interfaces we declared other than the or outside the class. That is the concept of the interface. Okay, so here the interface we already declared by the first user. Interface drawable, it contain a draw function, that is in another tab, is it? So second tab we declared one class, that is by the second user. Rectangle is the class that implements drawable. By using interface, we use the keyword implements. Then inside that interface we define the function draw for one purpose, and another class circle is that it need to implement the draw function again for the another purpose. So to implement or to invoke these interfaces and functions, we use the class test interface. Inside that class, we implemented we defined one main function. By using that main function, we declared one object. That object dot draw, it will be invoke the circle class and the draw function. That is when that should be printed drawing circle as the statement. So this is the interface concept. How we implemented multiple inheritance? A class that could be implement multiple interface. This is the syntax for multiple inheritance. Or interface that could be in extends multiple interfaces. That should be the feature of multiple inheritance. Okay. So this is today's class. So we will see in the next class. Okay, I'm planning to conduct one MCQ, but the time is 11 or 2:55. Okay, so that's why I stopped that. Mm, the track attendance, I will track the attendance. Okay, just I want to call.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I will take the attendance from the